I realise this shot might be a bit breezy, but what a fabulous view. I hope they put that fire out. This is Lote Hill. Well, very close to it. Lote Hill is just off to the left. But that's looking over towards Nottingham, across the forested areas of the A614, right through to what looks like Papplewick. But it's a beautiful day. It's mild, there's a bit of a breeze, yes, but it's one of those lovely sky days. Just look at that. It's a corker. Now, today's little video is more than likely going to be more scenic than invertebrate related. We're walking up to an old hill on the site of a former, presumably Anglo-Saxon settlement, I'm not sure. Well, there's a couple of settlements up there. It's easily viewed off the Epsom bypass as you run north up the Epsom bypass. And this view now is looking more or less east. In the distance there on the very skyline is Duke's Wood by the looks of that. But the valley that runs away from here, away from us, leads down to Eddingley. But it's a nice little spot. And there's a red kite knocking around on the right hand side here. Well, I'm sorry if it's windy. That's the way I'm heading, following the grass track at the side of this area of pine woodland, and then it opens out, and it really is the most fantastic day for this. Just a shame about the breeze and probably the buffering on the phone's microphone, but you'll have to turn sound down. People wish there was a sound button on me. Unfortunately for you lot, there isn't. Isn't life a bitch sometimes? Well, I'm more or less at the bottom of Lote Hill now. I've reached the end of the pine woodland, which is on the left of the screen there, and this area now is grassland, rough grassland, with some scattered old oaks. I've got to work my way up there to the top. It may be quite a while, but I'm still 10-20 feet away from the top of this. I'd forgotten how steep it was. Not to be recommended for those with the lung disease. But I have to admit, this is one of the best views in the county. And over to the left of the tree, there are now two red kites and a common buzzard. In fact, there's a red kite just drifting across and now banking towards me. This is one of the best areas to see red kites. It's just on the right of the screen, might be going out of the screen now. All those years, and red kites were just a myth to bird watchers in Nottingham. Hopefully it might not be quite so breezy on this side. I'm now in the lee of the hill, on the eastern side of Lote Hill, and hopefully we'll get a bit of sunlight in a minute and it'll show up the old settlement, which I'm pretty sure is Anglo-Saxon. It's basically the hill, the little hill next to this one that you can see there. This really is a view that's worth the climb to get to. And with most of the trees here and those nearby still having some leaf, the majority are oak, they're being lit up in the most glorious fashion. This is a great day for watching clouds. You really get a glimpse of how flat clouds are underneath. And I would imagine that later on this afternoon it will probably be mostly cloudy. There may well even be a few showers, I don't know. The cloud is starting to build up, but you can see the distinct lower level of the cloud. Do any of you ever look at clouds and the form? You see how they're in layers, well, it's all the same layer but broken up. We live on the most marvellous planet that provides all these spectacles for free. But do you ever look at them? Do you ever appreciate them? You may well do when you're not watching something on Amazon Prime or Netflix. You may well give them a cursory glance before saying, in tick code, let's go back inside, corros on. The disappointing thing, personally, is that the vast majority of the population don't appreciate what's around them at all. There are only several aspects of the planet and the weather that people are bothered about, whether it's too cold, whether it's too warm, whether it's wet or whether it's too dry. They're the climatic conditions that govern people's lives. You don't have to go very far to find wonderful scenery. And they're now becoming sort of bathed in autumn sunshine. It's the smaller hill just in front, of which there's a group of fieldfares just flying into the tree there. But that is the old settlement. I take it at some time that it's been excavated. And the high point at the back of it is George's Hill and Dorset Head, up at Mapley. There's the village of Calverton lying in the valley in front of that. It's one hell of a view. It's so easy to watch clouds, and while you're watching clouds, they're almost hypnotic, I find. You watch one particular cloud, and on days like this, you can see these clouds building. The sun's been on this edge of the cloud for about 10-15 minutes now. But watch the cloud, the large cloud that's centre of the screen. And watch how it changes. But you do find yourself drifting in thought watching clouds. They're amazingly therapeutic things. But there again, watching the sky is therapeutic, full stop. There's little to beat a clear, starry sky at 1 or 2 in the morning on a June's night. Or the opposingly a starry sky on a cold, clear night in the middle of winter. And it's funny how clouds that are appearing just behind the tree now, just left of, right of centre, will now start and develop. You've got the big dark grey cloud, which is caused by the shadow of the sun, but watch that cloud that's following it. How it now starts to build and is now starting to darken as it thickens up. It's now becoming thick enough to cause shadow. And by the time, if you keep watching it, by the time that's over where the sun is, it'll be exactly the same as the cloud that's in front of the sun now. You think I'm daft, don't you? But as I say, we just don't appreciate what we have on this planet. We'll never appreciate it until we've absolutely obliterated it. But see how that cloud that I told you to watch has now developed in the space of less than a minute. You'll never look at clouds the same again. But you shouldn't do, because they're all part of what is a wonderful world. Hey, someone could write a song about that. Where's my notepad? We've got a raven coming along the tree line here. There's two actually. This one's just come in. Been a nice little wander. I've enjoyed this visit. If you struggle with your breathing though, perhaps stick to Lincolnshire, dare I say it. But it's worth the short but steep climb to the top. And on a nice day in the summer, this would be a wonderful place to sit and have an hour, have a cup of tea, bring a flask. It's a great vantage point. It'd be a good point for visible migration of birds. It's just a slog to get here. But when you're here, look at the view. It's lovely. There's still some strength in that sun, and there's a few invertebrates knocking around, mainly blue bottles, a few other species. But these videos aren't just about invertebrates. It's about everything, about being in the outdoors, looking for stuff, yeah. I suppose you could say that today this site has been, what would they term it nowadays, invertebrrately challenged. That'd be the term, meaning the what much about. So it's a steady walk back to the car for me. It's been a nice little visit.